What details of a deal would suffice for you?
Well, I would have liked them to have negotiated a proper long-term
What's proper?
deal.
Let's focus on the word proper.
Where the
What's
detail
proper
holds
to
up.
you?
Where the
No,
detail...
because you keep saying this, but you're giving no specificity whatsoever.
Well,
I can sit here and name a whole bunch of random ridiculousness. That means absolutely nothing at all.
With respect, no, because they've actually announced a European deal where supposedly $600
So
billion...
give specifics about what you would like to see in an alternative. Wait a minute, Scott.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to yesterday's news channel, where we watch CNN so you don't have to. Yesterday on NewsNight with Phillip, Scott Jennings walked into the lion's den once again, and the moment he started listing Trump's actual economic wins, the entire panel melted down. You'll see deflection, denial, and a masterclass in what happens when partisan pundits are emotionally invested in being wrong. Anyway, let's watch Scott Jennings make a bunch of hacks squirm, but also see why they deserved every second of it. Let's go.
Put this in perspective. Pre-Donald Trump, the average US tariff was 3%. Today, the average US tariff is 17%, which is the highest level since Smoot-Hawley in the 1920s and 30s. Now, we cannot know at this point exactly how that's going to play out, which is why the Fed held interest rates as they two dissenters, yes, two dissenters, I'll give you that, but they held at them for the time being simply because, as Jerome Powell says, we just don't know.
Well, I would just like to go, but I'd like to build a DeLorean and go back to April when everybody here was predicting likely to cause a recession. Investment stops and a recession happens. They're not talking about a U.S. recession. They're talking about a global recession.
What was happening in
Lead to
April,
recession. Eventually, there being a reception.
Very cleverly. Hang on a second. If he's chosen to pick
I
my
just
words,
want to point
just
out,
a second,
you
sir.
called it. You called the recession. You called it. You took your shoe off.
And Joe, would you like to see that again?
You took your shoe off. You brought cookies out here.
15%.
You took your shoe off and you said there was going to be a recession.
Listen, Scott,
GDP is
it's
3%.
too early to give a final verdict.
All right, Scott,
It's too early. Just a second, Abby. He's basically calling me out here. It's too early to give a final verdict on the tariffs. You may wish to, but at the moment, it can't be said what the long-term effect is going
Richard,
to be.
I am just a journalist, and all I can do
Scott,
is read the economic data.
It's a bit of a stretch.
3%
Scott,
GDP,
Scott Jennings,
trade deals, record high in the stock
come on,
market,
these trade
cooling
deals,
inflation.
these trade deals
Hold on
are
a second.
garbage.
It's actually much simpler.
Garbage?
Yes.
Hold on a second. It's much simpler than this. Just one sec, because I think it's super important to understand. Scott, what was happening in April of this year, 2025? What was happening then? What did the president announce on that week, the first week of April? What did he announce?
The president was implementing
his
Scott? Tariff agenda.
And what were those tariff levels?
And well, they were different for different countries.
Okay, so
but every single person predicted calamity.
Scott.
Calamity.
Scott, you can't skip steps here.
And there is none.
What were those tariff levels?
They were different. He had a chart for different
not just
countries.
different. They were 2 to 3 times higher than the current tariff levels. Did those tariffs go into place, Scott?
It's different for every country.
Scott,
it's different for every country.
It's a simple question. Did those tariffs go into place?
He has delayed
Yes or no?
some of the tariffs.
Yes or no?
He has delayed some of the tariffs, and he's made deals, and he's implemented others.
Did any of the tariff levels that Trump announced on that week, did they ever go into place?
Some tariffs have been implemented, some have been delayed, and some deals have been made.
The answer is they did not. They did
some
not.
Tariffs have been implemented.
All of those,
some tariffs have been implemented.
All of those quotes.
That's why we have all this money coming in.
We have them here.
Even you said
you're playing with numbers here.
We have them here.
No, back in April.
You guys are so mad. Why are you rooting for failure? Why does this table root for failure?
Please, because you are saying that
you're rooting for failure.
You are taking a number of 40, 50, 60% back in April, and you're comparing it to a number of 10, 15% now.
Fine, but it was his strategy to negotiate and create leverage,
Scott,
and give us the situation
it
we're
is
in
completely,
today.
okay, Sherman, I will let you talk, but I just have to say, completely disingenuous to suggest
I'm sorry,
that, hold on,
you were the
Scott,
one calling
please,
for a recession in April, not me.
Give me 1 second.
You called for it.
Give me 1 second. Please let me finish. It is completely disingenuous to suggest that what economists said would happen if Trump imposed 50 and 60%, let's jump all the way up to 135% level tariffs on this economy would have been a recession. Those levels never happened, which is why there has been no recession.
You sound
so it's
disappointed.
not
You
that
sound
complicated.
disappointed.
How seriously should we take people who predict a recession every single month that Donald Trump's in office? At some point, it's not a forecast, right? I mean, it's just wishful thinking. Because these same experts who warned that Trump's tariffs would destroy the economy are now pretending they never said it, or claiming they were technically right if just with the stipulation that you ignore the results. You draw attention to your lies when you make excuses for them, Abby. So why don't you cover all the good things that are going on in the economy right now and give credit where it's due? Oh, let me guess. Since it's Trump, it's luck. Or maybe momentum from, well, not Biden, Obama somehow? Or it's just a fluke. Meanwhile, when the economy struggled the whole time under Biden, it's Putin's fault or climate change or mean tweets. You see how you can't have it both ways? I'm glad Scott called him out directly on this. These people aren't analyzing anymore. They're hoping for failure so they don't have to admit Trump succeeded. Because what you're watching right now is classic Democrat tactic when Donald Trump does have success moving the goalpost again and again and again. Anyway, back to it.
The levels haven't happened, but it didn't stop individuals who were antagonistic to the president and his agenda, whether they agree with him or not, from saying that this is still going to lead to significant inflationary rates. We have not seen that.
Yeah,
and so you would think individuals who were on the negative of this would have at a minimum acknowledged the fact that the president did not implement those high tariff rates, which you just stated.
It is super simple. Did Donald Trump implement the tariff levels that he
No,
promised?
I acknowledge that the tariff levels my point is,
when you evaluate whether or not inflation has resulted from those tariff levels, how are you evaluating
Well,
it?
I'll
because
tell you,
they haven't gone into place. So obviously, inflation hasn't increased to the levels that people projected if they had gone into place.
We're arguing two different things. The point that I'm making is individuals who said at the time that this would lead to a recession continue to make the same argument despite the fact that those tariff rates were not implemented. That's the point I'm making. And no one here is willing to acknowledge that fact.
Let me just play Jerome Powell because I'm not an economist, but this
The deals. Let's talk about the deals. Right. So we've got the deal with the European Union, which somebody has already described as pie in the sky. They simply will not buy that amount of energy, and nor will they invest that amount of money. We have the deal with Japan, where nobody knows where the $650 billion worth of investment is going to come from. Nobody. The Japanese admit they don't know where it's going to come from. We've got the deal announced today with the South Koreans. What Donald Trump has brilliantly done, he wanted a headline number, and it's around 15%, but the underlying terms of trade deals are garbage.
So, Richard, what deal would you have preferred?
How do you mean?
Well, what details of a deal would suffice for you?
Well, I would have liked them to have negotiated a proper long-term
What's proper?
deal.
Let's focus on the word proper.
Where the
What's
detail
proper
holds
to
up.
you?
Where the detail...
No, because you keep saying this, but you're giving no specificity
okay.
whatsoever.
Well,
I can sit here and name a whole bunch of random ridiculousness. That means absolutely nothing at all.
With respect, no, because they've actually announced a European deal where supposedly $600
So
billion...
give specifics about what you would like to see in an alternative. Wait a minute, Scott. Give an alternative and give specifics for what would be a deal that would satisfy your critique.
A long-term trade relationship deal that doesn't rely on a fictitious amount of investment.
Okay.
The Japan deal.
Okay, Richard.
No.
I'm listening.
The Japan deal envisages $650 billion worth of investment. But nobody says by whom or how or the penalty against. It is literally making it up.
Because so you're
More like crabby, Phillip, am I right? She's on one today, huh? She's dismissive, she's interrupting everyone, sneering, and I'm used to that most of the time, but her attitude's way off the charts today. Is this just her default now? I honestly can't think of a real explanation as to why she'd be so grumpy other than she's mad because she's just wrong about this. You saw Scott there enlist a bunch of Trump's economic accomplishments, things that really helped Americans. Not one person at that table even nods. Not even an acknowledgement. Because admitting Trump got it right would mean conceding they got it wrong. The egos on these guys are out of control. So instead they try to go with this ridiculous argument that Trump's tariffs would have caused a collapse if they stayed high, ignoring the fact that even at the time, they were described as leverage, not a final position. These people act like economists, but if their entire analysis depends on pretending Trump had no strategy, they're not economists, they're CNN panel members. I mean, you see this all the time from them. It's just more deflection. Instead of just acknowledging they were wrong, which would show some humanity and authenticity in their otherwise manufactured personalities, they zoom in on one single irrelevant detail to avoid conceding the broader point. It was crazy when Abby Phillip, making this argument, said that Scott Jennings was being disingenuous. That is as intellectually dishonest as it gets. In these clips, Scott really does expose the emotional weakness of an entire media class that would rather root against this country than admit Donald Trump got something, anything, right. But what do you guys think? Why do you think it's so hard, honestly, for these people to just admit they're wrong once in a while? You think they'd be reacting this way if it were Biden's economy exceeding expectations? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's it for this video. No announcements. One quick favor to ask. Would you guys load up the comments on this video? If you take a couple seconds to do that, I appreciate it. Subscribe to my second channel, The Dispatch Wire, and do all your Amazon shopping through my affiliate links. It's a simple way to support the channel, and I'd appreciate it so much. Otherwise, as always, thank you for taking a couple minutes out of your day to watch my video. I know your time's valuable, and I appreciate it. Never forget, Jesus loves you. See you guys.